So today we're going to be doing 5 Japanese cars that you can buy as a first-time driver. So if you're 17, 18 years old, you just passed your test and you want something Japanese as your first car, stay tuned. So we're going to be doing 5 Japanese cars that you can realistically afford as like a 17 or 18-year-old driver in the UK. Obviously, when you first start driving in the UK, insurance is a massive factor. It really restricts your options. It's not like Australia where you can just jump in a Supra or a Skyline and no one cares. So I have kept insurance in mind, I've kept tax in mind, and I've kept all the cars under £1,000 because if you're going to be buying it yourself, you're probably going to be on a pretty low budget at 17, 18 years old. So picked 5 cars. I came up with the idea of this video a few years ago. Somebody said to me that they wanted a Japanese car as their first car but couldn't afford it, and they ended up buying a Citroen Saxo instead and absolutely hated it. Yeah, there are Japanese cars out there that you can afford as your first car. While most of them aren't the best looking cars in the world in standard form, there's a lot of aftermarket support out there for them because the Japanese absolutely love their small little hatchbacks and K cars. So there's a lot of aftermarket support. A lot of them have a little bit of racing heritage, so there's performance stuff out there. So a lot of them are a lot more tunable than say a 1-litre Saxo would be. Yeah, here's my list of 5 Japanese cars that you can realistically afford as a first-time driver. Let's kick it off with number 5. So my number 5 pick is the 1.1 Suzuki Alto. You can pick them up in the UK at the moment for about 400 quid. Super reliable little car. They're very basic, but when they first came out, they were the cheapest car to insure in the UK. They were Group 0 insurance at one point. I think they've gone up a few groups now, but still really cheap to insure. They did do performance models of them in Japan, so there's loads of aftermarket support for them. Dead easy to get suspension and things like that. And you can actually make them look really, really cool with not a lot of effort. So yeah, my number 5 pick is the 1.1 Suzuki Alto. So my number 4 pick is the Toyota AYGO. It came with a 1-litre 3-cylinder engine in the UK. You can pick them up for about 900 quid plus. They've held their value pretty well because they're a really cheap car to maintain. They're really light. One of the downsides of them is they've got a really small boot, but they share the platform with a Peugeot 107 and a Citroen C1. So parts are really easy to get hold of. They're cheap to maintain. There's plenty of them in the scrapyard, so if you ever have any engine problems, you can pick parts off the Citroen and the Peugeot as well. Yeah, really, really good option. A lot of people race these in like 1-litre challenges. They're one of the most popular cars that people use just because they're so light and nimble. Yeah, really cool car if you want to just have some fun on the back roads after you just passed your test. Yeah, really capable little car on tight, twisty roads. So yeah, my number 4 pick is the Toyota AYGO. So number 3 on my list is the Toyota Starlet. It's a little bit more scarce than some of the other cars that I've got on the list, but they are available, you can find them. They usually go for about £700 or more. And yeah, just a great little chassis. They came with a 1.3 16-valve twin-cam engine in that's super reliable and massively over-engineered for the kind of car it is. Yeah, just a great little chassis. It obviously is the same chassis that the EP91 Glanza Turbo is based off, so you can swap all the parts off a Glanza onto a normal Starlet shell if you wanted to do that, or upgradable parts that for the Glanza will fit the normal Starlet, and you could always upgrade to a Starlet a year down the line and move all your parts over, or alternatively stick a Glanza engine into the Starlet a few years down the line. So you've always got that option of upgrading the car one way or another without losing all your money on that you've spent on parts over the years. So that's a cool little option, and yeah, just a great little chassis. They handle really well and super light. Really, the little 1.3 that comes in them is really reliable. Yeah, just a great little car overall. So my number 3 pick is the Toyota Starlet. So number 2 on my list is the K11 Nissan Micra. You might think I'm slightly obsessed with these things, and it is partially because I am. They're just great little cars. There's no secret to why people use them as delivery cars all the time. It's just because they're super reliable. You can pick them up in the UK at the moment for like 300 quid, so they're really, really obtainable and just cheap to buy. The insurance is slightly higher than a lot of the other cars on the list just because they're slightly more advanced. They came with a 4-cylinder twin cam engine in them. You could either get it as a 1 litre, a 1.3 or a 1.4. If it's your first car, you probably just want to go with the 1 litre. It's quick enough. There's a lot increasing amount of aftermarket support for them. There's companies like Gizfab that manufacture suspension components and stuff for them, and there's a lot of aftermarket support for the engines now. So really cool little car if you want to tinker away and learn about cars yourself. They're really simple, so it's difficult to mess things up on them. Just a really good car if you're wanting to learn stuff. So yeah, my number 2 pick is the K11 Nissan Micra. So number 1 on my list is the Toyota Corolla AE101. It came with a 1.3 litre engine in the UK. You can pick them up for about 500 quid or more. Slightly awkward looking in standard form, but once you start modifying these things, they can look really, really cool. There's a lot of them out in Japan that are modified, and Thailand absolutely love them for some reason. And yeah, they can look really, really cool. The good thing about the platform is it's really easy to swap other Toyota engines into them. So if you wanted to swap something else into it a few years down the line, that's always an option. And just a really reliable, sturdy little car. They came with a 1.3 twin cam 16 valve engine in, so yeah, just a great little car. They also did a AE111, which was the next model after it, which was a slightly smaller hatchback with rounder headlights, and also came with 1.3 in the UK. Yeah, they can look great when you modify them as well. Either one of them is an option. So yeah, my number 1 pick is the AE101 or 111 Toyota Corolla. I've also got a couple of honourable mentions. So another good option as like an alternative to an AYGO is the Mark 1 Toyota Yaris 1 litre. The only reason I didn't add that into the list is basically just because they're a little bit more expensive to insure than the AYGO was. So yeah, it's another good option, extremely reliable. My girlfriend actually has a 1 litre one, and we've never had to touch it in like 4 years really. We've not had to do any work on it whatsoever. They're really reliable little cars. So yeah, that's another car worth considering. The other one is the K13 Nissan Micra. They're a lot more expensive. You're probably looking at like $2 grand plus to get one of these, but you can actually get a Dig S model or DIGS model, which is a 1.2 litre engine with a supercharger, and they sound really, really good. They are a lot more expensive than a lot of the cars I've got on this list, but I thought it was worth a mention because if you've got slightly higher budget for the car, then the K13 Micra Dig S is definitely a one to consider, because it's a 1.2 litre supercharged, but the insurance is actually relatively cheap on it. So yeah, quite a lot of tuning potential, and they're a great looking car, slightly better interior than the K11 did. So yeah, the K13 is also another great little option. So that is my 5 Japanese cars for young drivers, with a couple of honorary mentions in there. Like I say, a lot of these cars aren't the best looking cars in the world when you first get them, but there's absolutely heaps of aftermarket support out there for most of them, and you can make them look really, really cool with very little work. Yeah, not a lot of people pick them as their first car. They tend to go for the generic stuff like the Corsa and the Fiesta. And while there's nothing really wrong with those cars, it's very difficult to make them stand out if you're planning on modifying them, just because there's a million other ones out there, and everything that can be done has been done to it. They're a great option if you want your car to stand out. All of them are really simple and basic, so they're really easy to like learn mechanical stuff on, whereas like some of the other cars that are a little bit newer and more electrical, a little less forgiving if you're learning mechanical stuff on them. So yeah, all the cars on this list are just great little option. Engines are all really accessible because they're quite small and just really easy to learn things on. If you think I missed anything from the list, make sure you drop it in the comments down below. It'd be interesting to see a couple more options, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. Winner of the sticker from the last video is PFC Kruger. If you want to win one of the stickers in the next video, all you have to do is comment on this video, come back, check out the next one, and you could win a free sticker. And that's it for today. Make sure you give the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.